I found it. Okay, good. Well, let's start then. Welcome everybody to webinar number 7. Um, and thanks for everybody's. I know there was a lot of confusion last week. Um, we were canceled last week, but then GoToWebinar sent out all the reminders, and so I know it was kind of confusing. So I apologize for that. I figured out now if that happens again, how to avoid them sending out all the reminders. I was getting email and text messages even Tuesday night. I was back east, and people saying, "Where's the webinar?" So again, I apologize on that. Okay, let's see. I know most of you know me already, so I'm going to skip this part as we usually do and jump right into our agenda for tonight. So what we want to talk about tonight is the nurture zone. And for those of you who have been on at least a few different webinars, you know we've talked a bit about the nurture zone and the conversion zone and the follow-up zone of your funnel. Tonight we're going to dig in to the nurture zone. What we're going to do though is start off with a couple of, well, actually really one question, kind of multiple questions, but it all boils down to one question that came up from our last webinar, which was on email marketing. And I'm going to want to take that up here first. Then we're going to get into really, moving into the key points and the key things to understand as it relates to the nurture zone. And we're going to talk about the 5 laws of digital marketing and how they relate to nurture and versus conversion. We're then going to do a much deeper dive into the nurture zone. And then we're going to talk about how you can go about creating $1 million plus nurture zone and some tricks on that, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then, of course, we'll end off with questions and answers. I think most of you know where the question box is, so certainly if you have questions as we're going along or clarifying things or anything I can help with, don't be shy. Go ahead and put the questions in there, and we'll make sure we get them answered. So without further ado, let's jump into this. But I wanted to answer a question before I got into some of these other things that came up from last week on email marketing. And this came up, several different people asked me this question in different ways. And the question was, is if I'm doing email marketing, what's a good open rate? Like what would be a way for me to determine if my open rate was good? And what we mean by open rate is the percentage of people that open the email versus the people who receive or that got the email sent to them. So if I sent to 1,000 people and 100 people opened the email, that would be a 10% conversion rate. And my answer to that is actually don't even look at open rate. The reason is that when you send an email, the way that the email service provider tracks open rates is by a little piece of HTML code in the actual email. And if somebody has their images turned off, like I have MacMail, and my MacMail settings are set up so that images are not automatically loaded when I go on to my email, and I have to manually load images if they're in an email. So if images are turned off in someone's email browser, then it will never register as an open, even if they do open it. So if somebody, for example, if I open an email in my Mac browser and or my MacMail email client, and I don't go and load the images, then no one's going to ever know if I open that email. So it's really kind of a false statistic. It's not an accurate statistic. The only way you can really use it is if you want to compare, if you were mailing, to the same 1,000 people, right? And I did a mailing today to those 1,000 people, and I did a mailing tomorrow to those same 1,000 people. I could use open rate to compare between one mailing to the next, but it's not really a good statistic as it relates to the overall success of your email campaign. The statistic that I like to look at, and really is the only one that matters, is click-through rate. So what that means is how many people, or what percentage of the people clicked on the link that you put into your email and your call to action to then move into your funnel or to your landing page or wherever you were sending them. That's really the only statistic that's A, accurate, and B, frankly, really matters, right? If somebody opens the email and doesn't click, well, it's not really helping us drive traffic into our funnel. So I emphasize and really look at click-through rate, and I always work to improve click-through rate. And I don't worry very much about open rate, because if my click-through rate's going up, that's, I know I'm doing something right. And as I said before, the open rate is not really a good, accurate indicator of what's going on, because some of the things that I talked about. So I hope that clears up some questions. Look at click-through rate. Now, another question kind of related to that came up is, well, what should we expect for a click-through rate? And that depends. If I'm mailing to a list that it knows who I am and so on, I always try and strive for at least a 20% click-through rate. If it was a completely cold list, like we talked about last time, obviously it's going to be less than that. But click-through rate is, to a large degree, how well you put your email together and how well you structure your call to action. So if someone is interested enough and reads your email and clicks through, obviously you've done a good job of doing that. So it's going to depend, but if it was a cold list, maybe a 2% click-through rate would be great. But if it's a warmer list, or if it's an existing customer list, then you'd want to see higher than that. But again, hopefully that answers some of the questions about open rate and click-through rate. Okay, so let's now switch gears and move into kind of the key pieces of the nurture zone. And a lot of you may know the reason I was gone last week, or we didn't do the webinar last week, is I was at a conference and a mastermind session in West Palm Beach, Florida, with a group of really top-notch expert marketers in funnel marketing. And there was a 2-day program. The first day, there was about 70 people in the conference, and there was group presentations. The second day was more of a mastermind, and it was just 12 people. And I was one of the 12 people that got invited to this in-depth mastermind. And it was really an amazing, especially, the first day had some great stuff, but the second day in particular really got into some really, really, really amazing things that people are doing to build, $1 million plus funnels, multi-million dollar funnels. And even if your vision or goal is not to create a multi-million dollar funnel, you can certainly learn from some of the techniques and strategies that people are using to build very successful funnels. And I'm going to share some of those today. I'm going to share them as it relates to the nurture zone. And over the next 2 or 3 sessions that we have, I'm going to share more of what I've learned, or what I learned at this conference, because there was just so much and so much data. But hopefully, there's some good things here that you can take away and apply in what you're doing. So as always, we're going to start off with our marketing purpose, right? The sole purpose of marketing is to get more people to buy more of your product or service more often and for more money. That hasn't changed. That's still our goal of what we're trying to do as it relates to marketing. We also know that digital marketing is marketing, per the definition that we just talked about there, that is carried out online using technology, the internet, mobile devices, and most importantly, metrics and analytics. This was not to get off topic, and I have to keep bringing myself back on topic, because there's so many cool things that we talked about last week. But metrics was a big one. Analytics and metrics and the tools that are available to measure, and really using that to facilitate how you're creating, and really squeezing the most out of every dollar that you're spending. There's just every day, every week, there's more and more things that can be done there. And I'm going to touch on some of that next week, but the week after, I'm going to do a bonus session. I was only going to do 8 sessions, but I feel like I should do 9, because there's just, we really need a session to kind of pull all of this together, everything we've talked about. And I'm going to talk about, in more detail, analytics and metrics as it relates to that. So again, that's what digital marketing is all about. Now, this was something we talked about, I think, the very first week. I don't remember. I know we've done this at least once. And it was the 5 laws of digital marketing. And there's more than 5, but these are 5 that, I have these 5 laws printed out. They're pasted on my wall. They're things that I look at every day, and things to keep in mind in anything that we're doing, especially when we're building funnels. And the first one is that people love to buy, but they hate to be sold. And I'm sure everybody here can resonate with that, right? You don't want to be sold, but you love to buy. And it's important to realize that, because a lot of times marketers, are especially novice marketers, are hesitant to ask people to buy, or they're hesitant to ask people to buy something or purchase something because they feel like they're being too salesy. Well, and there's another law coming up. It's not that people don't want to buy, they just don't want to be sold. They want to do it on their own terms. Another thing that is that buyers generally want to become repeat buyers quickly. And the reason is because when I've decided to buy something, I want to kind of validate my decision and buy more. So people will buy more and become repeat buyers very, very quickly. And it's just something to keep in mind. The third law is that prospects want to be presented the opportunity to buy at the right time and are upset if this is not done. So again, you can market and help the person and whatever, but if you never offer something to be sold and you don't allow them to buy, which is kind of a correlation to the, or corollary to the first law, people are actually going to be upset about it. So it's nothing wrong with presenting the opportunity to buy if it's done at the right time. And this is a big part of what we're going to talk about tonight, is how do we get the prospect to the point where it's the right time and that we offer something at the right time so that they are ready to actually buy. The fourth one, and we're going to get into this, well, we've talked about this already, we'll talk about it more next week, is that traffic does not equal conversions. And just because you have traffic coming into your funnel does not going to mean they're going to convert automatically, again, which is what we're going to get into with the nurture zone. And last but not least, and this is becoming more and more true every day, is never underestimate what is required to get a prospect to actually buy or convert online. We are, prospects and all of us are conditioned to say no. And especially now more than ever, because, and I just heard this statistic at the conference last week, is that the average person now is getting hit with 5,000 marketing messages every day. Through your email, through whatever you're doing, the average person is getting bombarded with over 5,000 marketing messages. So you're getting bombarded with all kinds of people trying to get you to convert, to buy. And we're all basically by default on the defense, right? We love to buy, but we don't want to be sold, and we don't want to be sucked into something and find out later, oh, I really didn't want to do that and I wasted my money or whatever. So we're suspicious, I guess, or we're certainly hesitant by nature. And it's true. It's just more and more people are going to find a reason to not buy. Our job is to change that and to give them the reason to buy. And that's really what the nurture zone is about. So I wanted to show these laws because a lot of these laws apply very directly to what we're going to be talking about here as we get into the nurture zone. The slide's going to change. Okay, so let's go back now to our friendly digital marketing funnel here. So as you remember, right, we have traffic, and we have traffic that we get from multiple different sources, and we talked a lot about traffic over the last few weeks. So this should be a subject that everybody's familiar with. And our goal is to move people through our nurture zone into our conversion zone, move prospects, and ultimately turn them into paying customers. And like I said, the reason we do this is because even if we attract attention to somebody over here on the traffic side of the equation, the chances of them going from traffic to customer in one step are slim and none, because it's just not going to happen. And as we talked about before, is that the average prospect is conditioned to say no. They're looking for reasons to say no. They're looking for reasons to say, oh, I've seen this before, or this is the same thing, or I already have this, or whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons, and we all do it. It's not any one person. It's something that we all do. So as a marketer, our job is we've got to take them through this process of getting them nurtured and into the conversion zone and into a paying customer. And of course, if they drop out, then we need to bring them back in through what we do in the follow-up zone, which we talked to last week. But let's now drill into exactly what is this nurture zone and how it relates to the conversion zone. And I thought that the best way to do that would be to actually define both of these words. And hopefully you'll see in the definition that there's quite a bit of difference on what our objective is in a nurture zone versus a conversion zone. So nurture, what that means, it's the process of caring for and encouraging the growth or development of something or someone, okay? Conversion is the technique or process, and this is a specialized definition that exists for sales, and there's a lot of definitions of conversion, but this is a specialized definition related to sales and marketing, is the technique or process that aims to transform a prospect into an actual paying customer. So if you look at nurture, what we're doing in nurturing is we're not selling. We're not trying to transform the prospect into an actual paying customer. That's being saved for the conversion zone. In the nurture zone, we're trying to do things that are going to build our relationship, build, and honestly, at the end of the day, handle any of the objections or any of the things that is causing the person to say no, right? Our job is to switch no to yes, or at least possibly, right? Or a strong possibility in the nurture zone. Because if they're not going to say yes, or even considering to say yes, then they're never going to convert. And we're never going to be able to get them to convert in our conversion zone. So we have to take people through this process of, building and encouraging the growth and development of somebody as a prospect for what it is that we're doing. And the good news is that the better job that we do nurturing, the easier the conversion is. It's one of the topics at the conference is that good marketing makes, if you market somebody well, you don't have to sell. The selling is already done for you based upon the marketing that you've done. So the sell process becomes very easy if you're nurturing and marketing to the person properly. And that's what we want to look at, is how we can do that and how we can, maximize the number of people that end up in our conversion zone. Now, what are our objectives of the nurture zone? And there's a few different things, actually 3 main things that we want to do in the nurture zone. Remember that, and I'm looking at this from the point of view that it's cold traffic. What I mean by cold traffic is people who don't know you, right? So let's say you run a Facebook ad and you're driving somebody into your funnel and you're driving them into your nurture zone. They have no idea of who you are, who your company is, what product you're doing, or anything like that. You attracted their attention, you got their interest, and you move them into the nurture zone. So your first job is you have to start building what I call know, like, and trust between you and or your business and the prospect. The prospect has to begin to know you, ideally begin to like you, and to some degree begin to trust you. The more know, like, and trust that you can build, the better off you're going to be, right? Because people want to do business with somebody who they know, like, and trust. And it's our job to make that happen and to build that know, like, and trust. So that's the first objective of the nurture zone, is to do that. The second objective is that we want to educate the prospect in a manner that results in the prospect really wanting your product or service. Now, the word wanting, there's some emotion in that, right? It's not just, hey, I want that. It's like, I want that. I really want that. And when somebody really wants something, there's some emotion in it. There's some feeling in it. It's not just a logical, oh, that looks interesting, or, oh, yeah, I really should have that. So we want to, first of all, educate in a way that creates the prospect really wanting and building that emotion into your product or service. And I'm going to show you how to do that actually here in a few minutes. The second thing is that you also want to educate in a way that does provide the logic where they understand the value and need for your product or service. Now, as you probably know, right, there's a lot of things that we need possibly, but we don't buy or we don't go through and get. And then there's also things that we really want that we don't really need, and we oftentimes get those just because we want them. So The senior thing here is creating that want, because want is going to trump need. People will buy something more on want than they ever will on need. And if the need is high, they're going to want it anyway. So, but in order to get a prospect nurtured, per the definition we just went through, not only do they need to want your product, but they need to logically understand the value and the need for your product. So it kind of allows them to say, wow, I want this from my heart, but logically, I know this is a good decision from my brain. And those are the two things together. If you can combine that emotional want with that logical justification, you've got the perfect mix as it relates to educating the prospect. Now, I want to say a couple more things about education, because this is an area I see all the time that people go overboard on, and they're educating in the wrong way, right? Our job here in educating is not to teach the prospect everything there is to know about your product, your service, everything like that. The job here is to educate in a manner that results in these two things: that they want your product and service, and they logically understand the value and need for that. So that's valuable education. It's just not, we're not doing a PhD course with the prospect on everything that there is to know about our company and product and service, and not creating that want and understanding of the value and need. So it's kind of a unique way that we need to educate when we move people through the nurture zone. And then the last thing we need to do is we need to inspire the prospect to take the next step and basically decide that they are at least very interested, or ideally decide that they want to move forward and purchase your product or service. And remember that a funnel is all built around a specific product or service. You don't build a funnel around your company. They can't buy your company. What a prospect can buy is a product or a service. So when we're inspiring the product to move into the conversion zone, we're inspiring them to move forward and make that decision, and to move forward to buy that product and service that you're introducing in your nurture zone. And these are really the only three things that you need to do in the nurture zone. Obviously, the question is how well you do that. That revolves around how many people actually move into that conversion zone. And in this conference I was just at, the people that are making millions of dollars of funnels, the reason they're doing this is the reason they're accomplishing those numbers is they're doing these three things well. That is what they're doing well. The traffic that they're getting and how they get their traffic and all of that stuff, you and I can get them in the exact same way. They're not doing anything to get traffic that you and I couldn't do. And frankly, things we've already talked about on this webinar series, and we'll talk about more. So it's not like they've got some secret traffic source and some magical place that they're getting traffic. Their products are no better or worse than any other products that we're selling. The only thing that they're doing better than the rest of us is they're doing a really good job in their their nurture zone. And they're really working at their nurture zone. They're investing their time and energy to creating the best nurture zone possible. That is, fulfilling the three things that we have here. And in the short time that we have today, I'm actually going to go in and show you some things that we learned at the conference on how to do that, at least at a high level, so you can start to be thinking with how you do this. And then I'm also going to show you some examples too about some good and bad ones here in just a second. But this is the objectives of the nurture zone, and is the secret, literally, to the success of failure of any funnel. Because as I said earlier, traffic is becoming more of a commodity, and the conversion part is easy if you've done the nurture part actually correct. So how do you actually nurture somebody? How do you do this online? Well, there's a number of ways, other mechanical ways to do that, right? You can do a webinar. We're doing a webinar here. You probably attended many different webinars where they, did what those three things that I just described are. You can build videos or videos to do that. You can build what are called sales letters, and I'll show you an example of one of those in a minute. A question, though, that comes up all the time, or you can do, articles or blog posts. Articles, blog posts, things like that can all be put together in a way that actually act as, or at least partially act as, a nurture zone, and starting to build the know, like, and trust, and starting to build the education that we're actually talking about there. So those are all valid ways of going about the how you actually deliver basically and go about the mechanics of getting the nurture zone in front of somebody. Another one though that comes up a lot that people ask me is, well, isn't my website my nurture zone? And for the most part, my answer to that question is no. Your website is designed as your online company storefront. It is designed as your online company brochure. And it's designed to provide information to prospects or customers or anybody about your company and about your business and about the people in your company. And yes, there are some things on there about your products and services, but that's not the sole purpose of your website. Your website has a bigger and broader objective and broader purpose. And as a result from that is when you try and use your website for a nurture zone, it becomes dispersing to the prospect because the prospect is got so many things that they can go look at your website. They can go to your about page. They can go to your contact page. They can go to your home page. They can bounce all over the place. And that's not really nurturing somebody as it relates to selling a specific product or service and as it relates to moving people through the nurture zone. So you can have a landing page on your website, of course, that acts and facilitates a webinar or a video or a sales letter or an article or a blog post or whatever, but your website in general is not really a nurture zone. Your website has a different purpose, and that's to provide information about your company and about the people in your company and what your company does versus nurturing somebody and moving them through the process on a specific product. So again, I don't, people, and I just had this conversation last Friday at another meeting, is they want to use their website for their nurture zone. And they just, we put all this money into the website. We just need to make it the nurture zone. And I'm just like, well, it's not that your website's bad. It's just not going to work as the nurture zone. It's not going to accomplish what it was that we just went through, which is to build the know, like, and trust, to educate for want and need, and to make sure that we're inspiring people to move into the conversion zone. So let's take a look at a couple of examples here. So I have a few different examples here that I want to show you. I'm going to actually save this one for last. So I'm going to jump over here to this one. So this is a landing page. These are all things I just got today. These are things that came in my email, and I clicked on every email I got to see what people were doing because I wanted to compare and show you some different nurture zones and probably show you some that are, in my opinion, not real good and some that are a little better than others. So this is a landing page. So there was an email I got that asked me to click and come to this landing page. And you'll see here that there's a video. It's about 7 minutes long, it looks like. And it's going to talk to me about the 5 biggest problems with e-commerce. And you'll see here then that they have they're talking about an e-com product of some point and all this kind of stuff. Now, I haven't watched the video. We're not going to sit here and watch the video right now. So the video could be, in fact, a really good start for a nurture zone. But you can see that it looks like it's a multiple video series. So you're going to go through this first video, and they're going to take you through a second video and probably through a third video, all of which to move you through the nurture zone. The only problem I really have with what I see right here, it's a little confusing. This is not clear to me down here, kind of where they're going with it. Asking me to register for the next video when I haven't watched this video is a little strange. It's a little kind of abrupt, and it doesn't, again, we want to do everything we can to guide the prospect through the nurture zone. We want to make it easy. We want to facilitate those 3 things as easy as possible. So, while this isn't horrible by any means, it's not, there's things that I would correct on this to make it a little bit better. And again, I haven't watched the video, so I don't know, are they educating per what we just talked about? Are they educating the way to create want? Are they just giving a lot of data? I can't vouch for whether the video is good or bad, but the page here, I'd give it probably a B- as a nurture zone page. Now, this is an example of another nurture zone, which is a sales letter. I said, one of the examples is a sales letter. You've probably seen these. You probably get these where you get these what are called long form sales letters. And I'm, again, not a super big fan of sales letters in this day and age because it's so easy and inexpensive to do video, and people will watch video way more frequently than they will spend time reading a sales letter like this. And there's probably some decent data in here, but it's not something that people are going to necessarily read. And I don't know that it's going to accomplish what it is that we want to do as it relates to getting people to, create that want and need and do the things that we just talked about, which are the objective of the nurture zone. I think that the title here is pretty good. It's a good attention grabbing title. But I'm not, the layout is, I just don't think I would have done it this way, but this is a very valid way that people do sales letters. And it looks a little disjoint. There's a lot of different ground that's being covered here and so on. So again, it's not horrible, but I wouldn't give it, again, probably a B or a B minus in doing that. The next one here is actually for a webinar. So this is a landing page again I went to from an email I got. And overall, I think this one's really good, at least as a way to get somebody registered for the webinar. Obviously, the webinar is going to provide the bulk of the nurturing. And but I think that this was laid out well. It was a good title, right? And again, remember who I'm getting. I'm getting internet marketing stuff. So this is something that would, their goal is to come to me and attract my attention. So, obviously take that for what it's worth. But I thought the title was good here. I thought it was very aesthetically laid out. I like the way that they did the part here. I like the testimonials. I mean, overall, I thought everything was laid out pretty well here. Now, obviously, this is really just the start of the nurture zone, because the goal was, or the real nurturing is going to take place on the webinar itself. So, I obviously don't know how good or bad the webinar is going to be, but at least as a first start, I thought that this was the better ones of the ones that I have seen today. And again, like I said, I just went through my emails and started clicking through and looking to see the types of things that came through. Now I'm going to go back to one that I've showed you before, and I'm not doing this because I'm saying that the one we did is the greatest or an A plus and the other ones are not. But this is a kind of all-in-one nurture zone that I know I've showed you before on some previous webinars that we did for a holistic allergy product for dogs and cats. And what we really needed to do here in the nurture zone is to get a prospect to recognize that a holistic and a natural way of allergy relief was better than maybe what they would do as if they went to the vet. Most people, when they have dogs or cats and the dog has allergies or bad allergies, you go to the vet. And I understand you can get steroids and medicines and all things like that. So our goal here was to kind of handle that sort of, this is the way we do things, and get people to realize that there was a better solution for that. And I'm going to actually use what we did here a bit as an example as we go forward. But just as far as how the nurture zone is laid out, is we set it up rather than a webinar as a mini training. And then when they opted in, they went to this video here, which will come up momentarily. And this was about a 13-minute video that talked about the 3 secrets to handling your dog's allergies that your vet may not have told you. And this video was the nurture zone, right? So this video was, and if you want to, I'll put the link in the email I send out. So if you want to go in and look at it, and look at the video from the point of view of the 3 things that we talked about, which was to build, know, like, and trust, which was to educate and inspire the prospect to take action. Those are the things that we really wanted to accomplish in this 13-minute video. And when they were done, then they would move on. And when it says Get Allergy Rescue Now, we're moving them ahead to the conversion zone. So this was our conversion zone, or this video was designed to be the conversion zone. And I personally what I personally find and have found in the testing that I've done, and then how do I explain this? So if I go back here, for example, right, to go through the nurture process, I have to go way deep down this big long thing here. So it's a very vertical nurture zone, if you want to call it that. I much prefer more of a horizontal nurture zone where we move people through step by step, kind of like they're going down a path, leading, kind of like we have in our picture of our funnel, right? I want to lead people through the funnel. I don't want to give them, I want to make it simple. I want to make it clear. I want to make each step easy to follow. I don't want to introduce a whole bunch of other things. I want to take them through the objective. And I think we see this all the time, is that people make mistakes about building their nurture zones that are just way complex, way dispersing, and they don't get the result, even though they may actually have some good content. So all of these are, and of course I give this one an A. All of these are examples, though, of nurture zone. And this one's similar to the one I just showed you. The only thing is I didn't really like this part down here. And I didn't like the register for the next video because it was having that pop up before I've even seen the first video. Now I start going off over here, and it's distracting. Versus really the point is watch the video. And honestly, this button, the way this video is actually set up, is this button wouldn't even appear until you're 9 minutes into the video. So they wouldn't even have the option to move to the conversion zone until they've actually watched a good part of the video at that point. All right, let me see. There's a few questions. I want to see if I've hit them. Let's see. Yeah, Gina says the sales letter reminds me of a get rich quick. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I think that's a good point, actually, is remember we're trying to handle the objection and the defense of people saying no and immediately thinking that this is hype and all of that. And the look of something, the look of this, to me, kind of smells or looks like hype. And so immediately I'm giving the person a reason to justify their no, right? I'm solidifying their reason to say no because by looking at this, it looks like, oh, wow, okay, this is something that's, it's something it's just hype and all that stuff. And so I can justify my saying no. This one, like I said, was a little more aesthetic, more professional, easier to follow. This one was good except for the reasons I define. And again, this is the reason we put these things together. So yeah, I think it's, even the pictures that we used here, we purposely used this picture of kind of this sort of calm, sort of sunset, sort of, everything matters as it relates to moving the people through the nurture zone and getting the objective. And again, the reason that most people don't do the nurture zone well is they don't know the objective of the nurture zone. And so they just start throwing stuff up and we call it kind of spray and pray and hope that something sticks. And obviously that's not a very good model and a very good way to spend your money. All right, so let's go back to the PowerPoint and continue here. So how do you go about building a $1 million plus nurture zone? And this data, like I said, some of this data anyway, came right from the conference because we spent a lot of time talking about how to, make these nurture zones as great as possible. And I've known this, but it really hit me at the conference that of anything that we do as a marketer, the absolute best use of our time and the best use of our value is constructing this nurture zone and really spending the time to do it well. And the reason is if you do it right and you get results, you can throw traffic at it all day long and you know it's going to convert. You have a winner. If you've got a nurture zone that you don't feel confident with and you're trying to throw traffic at it and you're, maybe some days you do better than others, that's really not a great business model. So the more that you can invest in the nurture zone to get it right, it's just the better off, the more solid your business is going to be and your funnel is going to be, really. So the steps are the very first thing. Now, of course, and I'm going to set, there should be maybe a step 0 here. Remember in your funnel, so this is all related to your funnel, you have a product or service that you are selling in your funnel. So we've used, teeth whitening, or it could be allergy rescue. Let's say our funnel is allergy rescue, which is the allergy product. We want to sell allergy rescue, and that is our goal of this funnel. Our goal is not to sell 15 different things. Our goal is to sell allergy rescue. So the first thing is once we know that, which is kind of our step 0, the first thing is we want to know who our ideal prospect is, and as much as possible, their demographics, interests, behavior, and so on. On the example I showed you with the allergy product, our ideal prospect was obviously a dog or a cat owner. We found that it was mostly women that were interested in this, generally between the ages of 35 and 55. We found that people that were interested in, like natural foods, natural health, organic foods, were obviously going to be more interested in doing things naturally for their pets. We, found that these people attended like a lot of even pet events and so on. So we really nailed down before we started who our ideal prospect was and a little bit about them. Now, the reason you want to do that is 2 reasons. One is when you go to your traffic sources, you want to be able to obviously attract the right traffic, right? And if you don't know who your ideal prospect is, it's not going to attract the right prospect. But what you, even more importantly than that, is that remember your nurture zone is a communication. You're guiding the person through your communication to the conversion zone. Well, the more specific you can be in your communication and the more on target you can be with your communication with your ideal prospect, the better off you're going to be. So again, if we know it's more of a woman and we know this is more of their interest and whatever, we can communicate them in a way that they're going to understand that and they're going to build that know, like, and trust even faster. So there's a lot of reasons to really get this first one down and get it right as to who your ideal customer is for the product or service. The next thing you do is write down the 3 main benefits of your product or service. And I'm going to do an example of this in a minute, but let's say I'm selling toothpaste. I'm going to keep it really simple. What are the 3 main benefits of toothpaste? Well, it cleans your teeth, it whitens your teeth, and it prevents plaque. Okay, those are 3 benefits. So write down 3 benefits of your product or service. Now, and this is where I'm starting to move into the $1 million trick that most people do not understand or would not do. Most people would stop right at number 2. But what we want to do is we want to write down for each benefit 3 benefits of the benefit. So let's go back to the toothpaste example. Benefit number 1, it cleans your teeth. It makes your teeth clean. Okay, well, what's the benefit of that? Well, the benefit of that is I have healthy teeth, I don't have cavities, my breath smells good. Those are all benefits of the benefit. And this is where you start to really communicate with the customer, is when you start talking to them about the benefit, or the prospect, when you start talking to them about the benefits of the benefit. Your prospect generally does not care about the benefits. They care about the benefits of the benefit because that's what it means to them. So for each of the 3 main benefits, each benefit, easy for me to say, write down 3 benefits of the benefit. So you'll have 3 main benefits, like I said, cleans your teeth, whitens your teeth, and I say freshen your breath or whatever. Those are the 3 main things. And then for each of those, write down the benefit of the benefit as it relates to those things. Now what you want to do is for each benefit and BOB, benefit of the benefit, the Bob, is look around and identify testimonials or evidence or otherwise that proves out the benefit or the benefit of the benefit claim that you're making. So again, if I'm selling Tom's toothpaste, I guess there really is Tom's toothpaste, but my Tom's toothpaste, let's say, and my first benefit was clean teeth, and then I said the benefit of that is healthy, I'm going to have a healthy gums and a healthy mouth. I would want to get some testimonials of dentists and other people that said, yeah, we found that people who brush their teeth with, this type of toothpaste obviously has healthier mouths, less cavities, all that kind of stuff. Or even testimonials. I started using a toothpaste like Tom's toothpaste with those ingredients, and I found that my cavities dropped off and my dentist appointments were way nicer because there was way less plaque and all that kind of stuff, right? We want to identify testimonials or other evidence that backs up the benefit or benefit of benefit claim that I'm actually making. All right, here's the one. Here is the $1 million tip. And honestly, this is something I knew before I went to the conference. I didn't appreciate and really understand the importance and value of it. So what we want to do is, once we have those first 4 things done, is we want to create a story. We don't want to just give somebody information. We want to create a story that presents those benefits, your proof points, your benefits and benefits in a way that is a story, as if you were sitting in front of somebody and telling a story. So for example, going back to my toothpaste, right? So my story is on the toothpaste is, you know, I no matter what I did, no matter what toothpaste I used, I would go to the dentist and the dentist would say, my gosh, you have so much plaque and your gums look horrible and you've got cavities and all this stuff. And I just got tired of it. And I said, there's got to be a better way than Crest and Colgate. So what I did is I went out and I researched and I found out that there was some ingredients that really help remove plaque. And I found somebody who knew how to do that, and we formulated that into a toothpaste. And we, spent 5 years researching how to put this toothpaste together to make it taste really good and have this result. And we put it together, and it has this special ingredient that now allows you to get plaque off your teeth that Colgate and Crest won't do. And then, and so and so and so and so. You see what I just did there, even though it was very fictitious? I outlined a story that presented that. People love stories. People love stories. I will say it 5 more times. People love stories. They want to be able to be entertained a bit about what it is that you're doing. So present it in a way that's actually a story. If I go back to some of the ones that we were just looking at here, right, this is not a story. There's a little bit of a story here, right? They're talking a little bit about, but it's not really a story. It's more information. This could be redone in a way that actually told a story, and talked more about how this person went about it. You can kind of see bits and pieces of it, but this isn't really a story. I don't know if this video here is a story. I don't know if the webinar is a story. I know on the one that we did here, we had a bit of a story. If I was going to do it again, I know we could do it much better. And we could weave the story into the entire video. We had a little bit of a story in the beginning of the video, but the story, like I said, if I was to do it again, the story could be weaved through the entire thing, and it would have that much more impact and that much more power. And, honestly, I think it's easier to outline a story as it relates to your product or service, because it is your product and service. You know it, right? It's if you were sitting down and talking to a friend about how it came about, or why you are excited about a product or service that you're selling. That's the story. So just outline that and incorporate in there your proof points and your benefits. And this literally is the difference between a very average funnel and $1 million plus funnel, is weaving that into everything that you're doing. And then when you create your webinar, your video, your sales letter, or whatever you do, the mechanics of it, it's going to be based on that story. You're going to use that story as the entire basis for creating your nurture zone. And that's really the 6 steps. And I want to go through and do an example here again, another example with this, but these are the 6 steps. And these are the things that the people that are cranking it with funnels and cranking it with nurture zone, and it doesn't matter what they're selling. This can apply to anything. It could apply to a restaurant. It could apply to a doctor. It could be applied to anything. This 6 steps can be used to create that nurture zone. Heck, if you're a personal brand in particular, or you're trying to do things around things that you've done, I mean, this is just perfect for putting those things together. Now let's take another more formal example, and I'm going to go back to the allergy product. And maybe some of you on here have pets that have allergies. So I want you to, as you go through this, as I go through these next 2 or 3 slides, and if you have a pet that has allergies, think about, if just the way that I'm laying this out, would this start to build know, like, and trust with you as a pet owner? Would it start to educate you as a pet owner and create want for this product? And would it start to inspire you to want to move forward and convert? And if you really feel excited about converting, I'll tell you how to do that when we're done. But the point is look at it when I go through this, look, because a lot of you probably are pet owners, is look at it from this point of view and just start to see, and even just when I'm going through here, is it starting to nurture you, right? So if I took this pet product, which was an allergy product for pets, the main benefits are it removes toxins from pets, it doesn't have any side effects, and it's easy to administer. So this was really the key benefits of this product. The allergies in pets are a lot of times caused by toxins, household toxins, floor cleaners, snail bait, all kinds of stuff, right? Things that get in pets' food and so on. And that's what can create allergies. Well, the allergy rescue product, one of the biggest benefits is it's set up to remove toxins from the pet. So it doesn't just cover up the allergy, it handles the source of the allergy. The other thing that it does is it's designed because it's totally natural to not have side effects. And a lot of medical allergy products will have a lot of side effects, and it's very easy to administer. It comes in a little dropper, you drop the dropper in the pet's water, you put it on their food, whatever, right in their mouth. It's very easy to administer. So these were the three main benefits. However, what are the benefits of the benefits? Well, let's just look at the number one. So as it relates to removing toxins, the benefits of benefit number one is, hey, your pet feels a lot better. That's a great benefit, right? Your pet's feeling, better. They're not scratching, they're not itching, all of that stuff. Well, I know for most pet owners, if your pet feels better, you feel better. So that's another benefit of a benefit. Even though the toxins are gone, your pet feels better. Now you're feeling better, and so on as a result of that. And benefit number three is now you have certainty and peace of mind that that problem's not going to return because you know you've handled it by removing the toxins. A lot of people that buy allergy products for pets, they try a million things. They'll buy this, they'll buy that, they'll try this, they try that, hoping, kind of trial and error. Well, this gives you peace of mind that you really have handled the problem, or if it does show up again, you can quickly handle the toxins and it doesn't become a bigger problem as before. These are all three benefits of the benefit of number one. And these are things that what a pet owner cares about. The pet owner doesn't care as much that it removes toxins. They care about, so what happens or what's the result of removing the toxins. Now let's take a look at the benefits of benefit number two, no side effects. Peace of mind. I know that my dog or cat's not going to come up with some other problem just because I'm giving them this allergy medicine. So they're not going to get burnt somewhere else or have a skin burn or have another problem or have nausea or whatever the case may be. It's going to be less expense because this is going to be a more effective thing and I'm not going to be trialing and erroring and trying different things. So another benefit of no side effects is I'm not going to have other expense or have to go to the vet because something else happens. And another benefit is your pet is happier and more active. And because there's no side effects and things that are slowing them down or something that would cause your pet to be sluggish, they're happier, they're more active, they're all of those types of things. Those are all great benefits of the benefits. So I'm not going to do number three, but I think you get the idea here, right? You can see the relationship between the benefit and the benefits of the benefits. Now, this is not hard to do, right? Just take a piece of paper and write this down for your product or service. I'm really going to try and make this really easy that you can actually go back and do and start to see this coming together. The next step, right, was to get testimonials. So, if I were to go back and get some testimonials, here's one, a before and after blood test disseminated much fewer toxins present after 30 days. Well, that is proof of the facts that we're removing toxins. For the first time in 2 years, we've got a good night's sleep because our dog was not constantly itching and in pain from the allergies. This is actually a true testimonial we got. And this aligns to the benefit of the benefit, right? The toxins are removed, my pet is happier, I'm happier because now I'm sleeping and not being woke up all night because my pet is not happy, right? Other allergy modifications have caused my dog to have nausea and other side effects. So these are all just examples, right? You can come up with them that align to the benefits and the benefits of the benefits that you went through. you're finding things that are going to back this up. And, there's no shortage. If you can come up with a bunch of these, the more the merrier, right? Because people love to have proof to back up your claims and what you're actually saying. So now that you have these, then you can come together and write the story. So I just started to outline a story, and I literally just put this together when I put these slides together earlier today. So this is, it probably has some bad grammar and is probably not perfect, but it really started to outline the story based upon what I just went through. So I started off and I just said the founders of Active Pet Health spent over 20 years researching allergies in dogs and cats. What they learned through this research is the majority of allergies are actually caused by toxins in the body and bloodstream. This breakthrough discovery demonstrated why it was often difficult to cure pet allergies and why traditional allergy medicines often made the problem worse. The situation is not only difficult for your pet, but also for you as the pet owner when no matter what you do, nothing seems to help. See, we're hitting now on some of the things, the benefits and the benefits of the benefits that we talked about earlier. Using the new data, the team at Active Pet Health set out to formulate a solution to handling pet allergies that was able to go right to the source and remove the harmful toxins. After several years of trialing and testing different approaches, they discovered a natural formula that actually flushes toxins from your pet's body. There, and this is, I see there's another typo there, their discovery was backed up by Dr. Jones, DMD, I just made this up, who stated that a before and after blood test determined much fewer toxin presence after 30 days using the Active Pet Health formula. Next, we needed to make sure there were no side effects or that other problems would not be created. As a result, we ran 3 months of tests with over 50 different dogs and cats and their owners. The good news is that the results were amazing, not only for the dogs and cats, but for the owners. Mary Adams was a pet owner that participated in a test with her dog Fido and said so on and so on. You get the idea. All you're doing here is taking the structure of what we put on those 2 slides with your benefits and benefits of benefits and your testimonials and your evidence and your proof, and you're laying it into kind of an outline story where there's a story being told here, right? We could lay this out with just saying data. We could have just put this as bullet points that were just bullet points, but would that have been as interesting as the actual story? Would that have been, as good or as useful than actually going through and going through the story here? So now let me ask you, for those of you who are pet owners and for things like that, if you were a prospect and you were nurtured, just even what I just have gone through here, right? This would probably cause you to say, this is something I need to look into a little bit more. You would start to build some know, like, and trust. Notice that we educated you in a way that started to create want. Hey, I want toxins out of my dog. Of course I want toxins out of my dog. We started to create the need and the other things for that, and we backed it up with the things. This sets the stage for everything in that actual nurture zone. So, just going back here, and I think we touched on these already, so I don't need to spend a lot of time here, but that story then would be weaved into however you choose to present it. If you wanted to create a video, that story would be weaved through this entire video. Or if it was like a video like this, or if you were going to do a sales letter like we talked about, the story then would be the sales letter, right? And rather than, again, kind of having this part here that's kind of dispersing, right? It's not really telling the story. Hopefully the webinar here, the webinar would actually lay out the story. And you constantly want to keep weaving back in the story. So it's like you're watching a TV show practically here, or a reality show or whatever. You're actually getting, or maybe more of a documentary in some ways, but it's telling a story and it's moving the people through the story in your actual nurture zone. And like I said, this is an area that I had an understanding of. I really didn't have an appreciation of how important it is and how much of a game changer it is from going from a funnel that works okay to a funnel that works really great. So Gina's asking, are landing pages used for the nurture zone or the conversion zone? So a landing page, by definition, let me go back here. A landing page, hence the name landing, A landing, sorry, let me grab a sip of water. The idea where the word landing page came from is that when you clicked on an ad or you clicked on a LinkedIn email, where did you land, right? So it's like when you come from the traffic zone, let's go here. Bring this up fast. So when I move from traffic and I move into the nurture zone, I'm landing somewhere. Okay, so that's where the term landing page came from, is that I actually, land somewhere. So all of these pages that I showed here are examples of landing pages, every one of them. Well, actually, let me back up here. So our landing page here, this was our landing page, or our first landing page. This was the first place that you would go to if you clicked on the ad or the email. This was the landing pages that I went to when I clicked on the different emails that I got. So all of these are landing pages. Now, that said, right, you could argue and say, well, but now when you said start your mini training and you end up on this page, aren't you now on a landing page for the training? And yeah, you could certainly say that. So, in this case, you could say it's multiple landing pages. It's not exactly the exact use of the word. And then when I click here and I go to Get Allergy Rescue, which is another page, right, you could consider this to be the allergy rescue landing page. You could call this another landing page in the sequence of the funnel. So maybe a simpler way to, the landing page I usually think of as the place that somebody comes to from the traffic source. So whether it's an ad or an email, where they land is the landing page, but your funnel can have multiple pages. And your funnel should have multiple pages in the way that we're talking about it here. So it's just think of the landing page as maybe the first page, and then the other pages are the follow-up pages that are necessary for your funnel. Yeah, so it is the starting point of your nurture zone. Yes, that's exactly right. So the landing page is the starting point of your nurture zone. So when I move from traffic to here, to the nurture zone, and I come to a landing page, that is the place where the experience starts. That's a great way of looking at it, Gina. That's exactly right. And then from there, you may be taken to other pages, right, that are multiple pages in your nurture zone and multiple pages even within your conversion zone. Again, each page, though, has a very specific purpose, which is to get that person from one end to the other. And that's all we're really trying to do. That's why we don't want to use our website, because the website is not going to naturally flow the person through here. There's a lot of places they're going to get lost and go in different directions. We want to, take the person down the yellow brick road through the nurture zone to the conversion zone, and obviously into the customer piece that's there. So great question on that, and I hope that clarifies it. Let's see, I don't think I want to go back there. So to just wrap things up here, that is our purpose of our nurture zone. I hope that you're starting to see that if you do a good job on your nurture zone, one, you're going to have fewer people dropping out. And more importantly, you're going to have more people coming back into your conversion zone. And we always want people to consume the content, right? Watch the video, read whatever it is in our nurture zone. That's again why we do follow-up, because we want to make sure that the person gets the opportunity to hear and see and learn what we're bringing up, so we can have a chance to move them in to the conversion zone. And as you look around to other marketers and you get things, just watch, look at how they're doing. Look at, you're going to get a lot of things that people are going to take you right into the conversion zone. And honestly, they're not going to work, or they're very rarely going to work. What we want to be is we want to be really good at what we're doing. We want to be $1 million plus funnel builder. And if we're going to do that, we're going to really have to pay a lot of attention to the nurture zone and invest time there, like we've talked about here tonight. All right, so next week, I want to just talk quickly about the next couple of weeks, because we're kind of getting wrapped up and toward the end of the webinar series here. Let's see, there's a few more questions that have rolled in. Oh, good. I'm getting quite a few people saying, thank you, love the webinar, great information. Excellent. I'm happy to hear that. It's really good to hear. and please apply it, right? So please apply it, and and also email me if you're putting together your nurture zone and your benefit or your benefits or whatever. Send me an email, or we can talk about it on the coaching call. Um, I'm happy to give you some feedback if I can, and whatever it's going to take, because I want to see everybody be $1 million plus funnel builders. But anyway, going forward, what we're going to be doing next week is we're going to talk about specifically paid traffic from Facebook, and using Facebook ads and the paid traffic tools from Facebook. We're going to talk about how you maximize your budget for that, how you select your perfect audience. And I also have some tips and tricks that I learned at the conference as well about how to use Facebook ads, put them together, how to get the maximum amount out of it. One of the things I found very interesting is, again, these people at the conference making millions and millions of dollars from their funnel. The majority of those people are taking their traffic from Facebook. They are not taking it from Google. They're not taking it from YouTube. They're not taking it from Twitter. They're taking it at least primarily from Facebook. And these are, no matter if they're selling to consumers, to other businesses, there was a lot of business-to-business people there. Everybody is really having the most success taking their traffic from Facebook. So I thought we really need to spend some more time on that, and we're going to get into that next week. Now, the week after, which will be our last webinar for this season, is I'm going to do a special session where we kind of pull it all together, and we talk about building a funnel-based business. And what that means is we've been talking about funnels as it relates to specific products or services. But how do you use funnels in general and combinations of funnels and things like that to really not just grow and expand a product or service, but grow your business? How do you use these funnels and the digital marketing techniques to really get your business to take off like crazy? And this is also some things that we talked a lot about at the conference, and I want to share with you, because at the end of the day, that's really, if you're an entrepreneur, you're having a business or whatever, that's what you want to do, is you want to be able to get your business to really expand. Obviously, you want to sell products and services, but you want to use that to expand your business. So that'll be the one next week, and then that'll wrap us up before all the holidays and all that stuff starts happening. If you haven't got your coaching call, you haven't signed up, there's still time. Just go ahead and go to this URL. Again, or you can just email me, whatever is easier. Like I said, feel free to ask me ask questions if you're working on your nurture zone. I'm happy to help on that as well. Okay, is there any other questions here that we have not hit? Cool. I think we've hit most of those. Yes, thanks for all of you for attending. So thanks again. We will be back next Tuesday. There's no other break. So next Tuesday, the week after that, we'll be back straight through. I'll have the replay up here in the next day or so, like always. And also, I recommend, especially as we get to this last one where we're going to talk about building the business, if you haven't watched all the replays or you want to go back and review the replays, I would definitely recommend doing that, because we're going to touch on a whole bunch of things that we've covered over the last 8 or 9 weeks in that final grand finale. But I'm really excited about it, because it's going to pull all this together into something that can be really used to grow your business. So if you haven't done that, do that as well. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see everyone next Tuesday night. Take care.